What if the secret to living past 100 wasn't hidden in a pill, a gene, or a fancy gym routine, but in something far simpler? A plate of homemade Italian food, a peaceful heart, and a life lived on your own terms. Imagine waking up every morning with no rush, no deadlines, just gratitude, the sound of birds outside your window, the smell of coffee filling the kitchen, and the comfort of knowing you've seen more seasons than most ever will. It sounds almost magical, doesn't it? But for one woman from New York City, it's real. Her name is Louise Jean Signore, born in 1912, right there in the Bronx. As of this year, she's 112 years old, and when you see her smile, that soft, bright, unbothered smile, you can't help but wonder, how did she do it? In a world obsessed with looking young, Louise reminds us that aging can be beautiful, that it's not something to fear, but something to honor. Because her story isn't about surviving time, it's about embracing it. She still lives independently, she still moves with grace, and when asked for her secret, she simply laughs and says, "I never got married, and I always ate good Italian food." There's something so honest about that, isn't there? No miracle cure, no complicated diet, just a woman who found joy in simplicity and peace in being herself. Today we're going to take a closer look at what's behind that joy. We'll explore what doctors say about her lifestyle, what science tells us about her habits, and what you can learn from the way she's lived to create your own version of longevity, peace, and happiness. Because Louise's story isn't just about how to live longer, it's about how to live better, how to wake up every day and truly feel alive. So before we begin, if you believe that age is just a number, if you believe that life can keep surprising you, no matter how many candles are on your cake, take a moment to comment, longevity. And don't forget to subscribe to Senior Health Wisdom, where we share heartwarming, science-backed stories of people just like Louise. People who show us that growing older is not the end of the story, it's the most beautiful chapter of all. You know, when you listen to Louise talk about her life, there's something beautifully uncomplicated about the way she lives. No expensive vitamins lined up on a shelf, no diet charts taped to the fridge, just real food, the kind that fills your home with warmth and your heart with comfort. She says she's always loved Italian food, and when she describes it, you can almost taste it. A drizzle of olive oil over ripe tomatoes, a bowl of pasta made with love, a bit of fish cooked slowly, just the way her mother used to make it. There's nothing fancy about it, and yet, that's exactly where the magic lies. It's food that connects her to her roots, to her memories, and to the joy of sitting down at the table and savoring life one bite at a time. Doctors have studied this way of eating for years, the Mediterranean-style diet. They've found it's full of antioxidants and healthy fats that protect the heart and keep the mind sharp. But for Louise, it's never been about nutrients or numbers. It's about feeling alive. It's about the pleasure of cooking for yourself, the laughter that happens over a shared meal, and the quiet gratitude that follows when you're done. And maybe that's one of the biggest lessons she teaches us, that longevity isn't built on restriction or guilt, it's built on balance. So many people spend their lives running from food, counting, measuring, fearing every bite. But Louise shows us another way, one where food isn't the enemy, but a friend, a reminder that nourishment is as much about emotion as it is about nutrition. If you close your eyes for a second, you can almost imagine her in her kitchen in the Bronx, a small apartment, sunlight pouring through the window, the scent of garlic and basil in the air. She moves slowly but confidently, her hands sure from decades of making meals that bring her joy. There's rhythm in the way she stirs, patience in the way she seasons, and peace in the way she eats. Maybe that's the secret, not eating less, but eating with love. Because when you cook with care, when you savor each meal instead of rushing through it, you're feeding something much deeper than your body, you're feeding your soul. So maybe start small. Next time you sit down to eat, pause for a moment, feel the warmth of your food, notice the colors on your plate, and remember that this right here is what keeps you alive. Not perfection, not fear, just the quiet joy of being present. And as Louise reminds us, life's richness isn't only in what you add, it's in what you keep simple. But food wasn't her only secret. There's something else she never had, and she says that's exactly why she's still here. When people ask Louise about her secret to living so long, she smiles, that kind of smile that only comes from years of peace, and says with a playful laugh, "I think the secret to my long life is that I never got married." She says it half jokingly, but you can feel there's truth beneath the humor. Not bitterness, not regret, just a deep calm, the kind that comes from knowing who you are and never apologizing for it. Louise built a life that belonged to her alone. She didn't chase anyone else's timeline, didn't feel pressured to fit into what others expected. Instead, she found joy in her inner independence, in her ability to wake up every day and decide, this is how I want to live. And that right there is something most of us overlook. We often think happiness depends on who's beside us, a partner, a spouse, a companion. But Louise reminds us that sometimes peace comes from the quiet of your own company. Science has begun to echo what her life shows so clearly. Stress, especially the kind that builds from tension or conflict, can quietly shorten our lives. It wears down the body, clouds the mind, and steals the little moments of joy that make each day meaningful. Louise, on the other hand, found a different kind of love, one built on friendships, neighbors, laughter shared over coffee, and the freedom to live by her own rhythm. She didn't close herself off from the world. She simply chose to live without the weight of obligation, and you can hear it in the way she talks about her days, how she enjoys dancing at the community center, chatting with the people she's known for decades, and always having time for herself. It's not loneliness, it's contentment. It's a quiet balance that lets her heart rest easy. We're taught to believe that growing old alone must be sad, but maybe that's only because we confuse being alone with being unloved. Louise shows us they're not the same thing. She may not have had a husband, but she's surrounded by love, the kind that shows up in smiles, shared meals, and the laughter of old friends. And maybe that's the deeper lesson here. You don't have to be single to understand her wisdom. What matters is protecting your peace. Whether you're married or not, what truly counts is how you care for your own spirit. Peace is longevity. Peace is health. Peace is the freedom to live without constant worry or resentment. So take a moment to think about it. Where in your life can you invite more calm? Where can you let go of the noise, the stress, the expectations that don't serve you anymore? Because Louise reminds us that living long isn't just about what you eat or how much you move. It's about what you carry inside your heart. And the lighter that heart becomes, the longer it beats. Even without marriage, she never lived alone in spirit. Her community became her family, a circle of love and laughter that filled her days with meaning. And that perhaps is the next secret to her remarkable life. Even at 112 years old, Louise still moves through life with a kind of rhythm that's all her own. She goes to community events, joins the parties, dances when the music starts, and always seems to have more energy than anyone expects. You can picture her there in the Bronx, surrounded by friends half her, tapping her foot to the beat, smiling that knowing smile of someone who's seen it all and still chooses joy. When the music plays, she doesn't sit back and watch. She moves, not fast, not perfectly, but with purpose. Each step a quiet reminder that the body was made to live, not to wait. Her favorite thing, music and movement. She says it keeps her young. And she's right, because science agrees. Staying active doesn't just help the body, it protects the mind. Doctors and gerontologists call it the rhythm of longevity. When you move, even a little, your heart pumps stronger, your brain lights up, and your mood lifts like morning sunlight. But for Louise, it's not about the science, it's about connection. Every dance, every conversation, every shared laugh, those moments knit her days together like a tapestry of memories. She isn't surviving through time, she's participating in it, fully, joyfully. Some might assume that at her age, slowing down is inevitable, that she must spend her days sitting quietly in a chair, watching life go by. But Louise gently proves them wrong. She doesn't let the number define her. She wakes up, puts on her shoes, and chooses to keep moving. Because movement, to her, is freedom. It's medicine, not the kind you take from a bottle, but the kind that fills you with vitality from the inside out. And maybe that's something we can all learn from her. You don't have to dance in a hall full of people. You don't need to run marathons or lift weights. Start smaller. Take a slow walk in the morning. Breathe in the fresh air. Feel the sun touch your skin. Call a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Laugh, move, connect. These little moments, they add up. Day by day, they form the rhythm of a long, fulfilling life. Because every time you move your body, you remind it that it's still alive. And every time you reach out to someone, you remind your soul that it still belongs to the world. Louise shows us that aging doesn't mean sitting still. It means learning how to move differently, with more gratitude, more awareness, more heart. She may walk slower now, but her spirit dances faster than ever. And while she keeps her body moving, it's her mindset that truly keeps her young. Louise often says she keeps a system, That's her word for it. Simple, steady, and sure. Every day she wakes up around the same time. She makes her breakfast, maybe eggs and toast, or a bit of fruit. She straightens up her home, chats with a neighbor, and later in the afternoon, she rests for a while before heading to a local event or a visit with friends. Nothing complicated. No rush, no chaos, just a rhythm, gentle and dependable, that has carried her through the decades. To anyone else, it might look ordinary, but that's the beauty of it. In those quiet, repeated moments, there's a peace most of us spend our lives chasing. Her system isn't about productivity, it's about balance. It gives her days shape, gives her time meaning, and gives her heart something to look forward to. Modern science now backs up what Louise has lived all along. Routines help the body feel safe. When your days follow a pattern, your stress hormones lower, your mind relaxes, and your body finds its rhythm. It's the difference between drifting and belonging, between existing and living. And it's not just about what she does, it's how she does it. Each part of her day, no matter how small, carries intention. When she cooks, she's not just feeding herself, she's practicing gratitude. When she takes her daily walk, she's not counting steps, she's reminding her body, you still can. When she sits quietly to rest, she isn't idle, she's listening to her own thoughts, letting her mind settle like calm water. Many people think retirement means stopping, that it's a time to sit still, to fade quietly into the background. But Louise shows us it's not about doing less, it's about doing what matters. She's proof that having a simple routine can keep you grounded, purposeful, and alive. Because when you wake up with even the smallest sense of what comes next, you give your mind direction. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as watering your plants, baking bread, helping a neighbor, or writing a note to a friend. These moments create meaning, and meaning is what the heart feeds on. Think about that for a second. We spend so much time searching for something extraordinary, but what if the secret is hidden in the ordinary? In the rhythm of a day well lived, repeated again and again with love. Louise's system isn't a schedule, it's a heartbeat. It's her way of telling life, I'm still here, I still have a reason to wake up. And maybe that's what keeps her so young. Not just her diet, not just her laughter, but her purpose. Because when your days are filled with purpose, even the smallest ones feel worth living. And behind all these habits, all these small rituals of joy and routine, lies something deeper, a quiet belief that happiness is a choice. When asked the secret to her smile at 112, Louise didn't pause to think. She just smiled wider and said, I'm grateful for every day. No rehearsed answer, no hidden formula, just gratitude, simple, powerful, unwavering. You see, when you live that long, you learn that life isn't about counting years, it's about feeling them. It's about waking up and saying, I'm still here. And that's enough. Gratitude became her medicine. Even when her knees ached or her vision dimmed, she found something to be thankful for. The taste of her morning tea, the warmth of sunlight on her hands, the sound of children laughing in the distance. She never focused on what she'd lost, only on what she still had. And maybe that's why her eyes still shine like that, bright, curious, alive. Because a grateful heart refuses to grow old. Science now echoes what Louise already knows in her bones. Researchers at Harvard have found that gratitude does more than lift your mood. It actually changes the body. It lowers inflammation, strengthens the immune system, and even promotes better sleep. Gratitude, quite literally, keeps the body younger. But here's what's even more remarkable. We often think happiness comes after health, that once we fix our bodies, our joy will follow. Louise flips that belief on its head. She shows us that sometimes it's happiness that heals. That peace of mind and a thankful heart can become the most powerful form of medicine. Because when you focus on what's good, even in the smallest things, you train your body to relax, your heart to expand, your spirit to stay light. And over time, that lightness becomes strength. Louise once said, I don't think about what I don't have, I just enjoy what's in front of me. And there's something profoundly freeing in that. She reminds us that joy doesn't come from having everything perfect. It comes from accepting what is, and still choosing to smile. Gratitude doesn't erase pain or hardship. It transforms how we carry them. It takes the weight of life and makes it feel bearable, even beautiful. Because when your mind learns to notice blessings, your heart learns to rest. So maybe the secret to her glow isn't just good genes or clean living. Maybe it's that every single day, She practices the art of appreciation, a quiet ritual of joy. Before bed, she thinks of 3 things she's thankful for. Some nights it's a good meal, other nights it's the laughter of a friend, and sometimes it's simply the gift of another sunrise. And with that thought, she sleeps in peace, because gratitude keeps her mind young and her heart light. Louise teaches us that joy isn't found, it's made, built moment by moment, thought by thought, by choosing to see life not as something owed to us, but as something offered, one gentle day at a time. And that brings us to the heart of it all, what her story really teaches us about life. Louise's life reminds us that longevity isn't about numbers, it's about moments. Moments of laughter over a simple meal, moments of calm in solitude, moments of love woven through community and friendship. She didn't chase youth, she nurtured peace. She didn't fight time, she befriended it. And somewhere between her morning coffee and evening gratitude, she discovered what so many spend a lifetime searching for: contentment. Because aging isn't about losing youth, it's about gaining wisdom, the kind that only time can teach. Every wrinkle is a memory, every silver strand a story, and every birthday candle a quiet victory against the odds. Louise's story isn't one of luck, it's one of living well, of waking up each day with purpose, treating life not as something to endure, but something to cherish. So maybe today, take a page from her book, call someone you love, cook your favorite meal, the one that makes you smile, step outside, even if it's just for 5 minutes, and feel the breeze on your skin. Because the best time to live well isn't someday, it's now. Maybe the secret to a long life isn't about avoiding death at all, but about embracing life fully, one grateful, beautiful day at a time. So let's take a moment to remember what Louise taught us. Eat simply, with love and intention. Stay calm, protect your peace. Keep moving, even if it's just a few steps. Live with purpose, find joy in routine. And above all, be grateful. These are the timeless lessons from a woman who has seen more than a century, and is still smiling. Now I'd love to hear from you. Do you think staying single really helped her live longer? Or was it her Italian diet, rich in olive oil and laughter? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might inspire someone else today. And if Louise's story touched your heart, make sure to subscribe to Senior Health Wisdom, where every week, we share real stories and science-backed insights from people who prove that age isn't the end of life. It's the reward for living it well. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay kind, and may your days, like Louise's, be long, joyful, and full of meaning.